Greetings, all you samurai out there. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you with another chapter review of Samurai 8. It's chapter 18, titled Use as Planned. And it's a bit of a downtime episode. I guess to a certain degree you can kind of say that, as quite frankly, it's like, because we're coming face to face with these two new opponents, named the Bandits, Ryu and Katsuga. It's really kind of hard to say at this point, but they get ready to clash. Daruma is ready to throw down with them as well. It's interesting that we're going to see this fight go down, but at the same time, you could kind of guess that they're not really opponents. Like, there's nothing inherently evil about that, and it feels like you can really kind of tell that from jump, that ultimately they're not bad people. They're just a couple of goofballs for the most part. And that's especially true when you constantly see Ryu misconstrue any orders by Katsuga. When Ryu basically pretty much ends up turning on Kasuga after a certain point, because it's just like, oh well, Kasuga, you said to slay everyone except the girl, so that includes you. And it's just like, no, you dolt. And it's just like this really weird comedy routine going on here. And it's pretty obvious that Ryu just has some mental deficiencies for the most part. But, Ryu finally gets it together and follows Katsuga's orders to go in and attack. Daruma goes in for the offensive, but, Ryu stops him for about a moment, only to ask him whether or not he's a male or female cat for some reason. But they do ultimately end up clashing. It's pretty cool, pretty nice techniques and all that good stuff. The way that Ryu fights is actually interesting, because he has two samurai souls for some reason. So there has to be a greater significance to him beyond that. But since he brought out that other samurai soul, Daruma uses his holder, says it's all around now. Basically, they are inside of his holder in order to bring out his armor, which helps him block, because Ryu has now this double-sided like lightsaber device. And Daruma's holder goes into bind and capture both Katsuga and Ryu. But Ryu then turns his sword into a bit of a sickle in order to cut off the bindings, and he changes his sword again into a drill in order to drill out of the holder. So it shows that he has a very versatile ability going on here. And while Daruma does go into pursuit, he starts to get a readout from the bill of the port that they've been staying out, with all these, and a statement that he has some kind of outstanding debt. And Daruma's just like, wait, no, that's not right. I had a pretty good amount of money in my account. What was all of the expenses? And as he's clashing with Ryu, who has turned his weapon into this kind of like almost axe-like thing, he gets all these different readouts from all these food, groceries, garments. An spent a good amount of money on groceries, but that's kind of to be expected. But what Hachimaru spent his money on, is completely ridiculous. And it's just like, what? How have you spent this much? And, Hachimaru notices that, he's not fighting correctly. And once Daruma hears the complete readout on all the money that's been spent, and the bar owner comes chasing after him to say, hey, you didn't pay the 700 yen you owe me. And when Hachimaru contacts Daruma in order to say, why aren't you fighting normally, he gets an axe to the head, but it doesn't go completely through. And while Katsugu is like, oh, you got him, Ryu's just like, No, if he had really let his guard down, he'd be split in two. And Daruma starts yelling at Hachimaru, like, do you not understand how money works? Do you not understand how money works? Like, my god! And he's just losing it. And he sends out this massive shockwave of power that shakes the entire facility. And we come to find out he spent like 17 million yen on this cloth that, Hachimaru thought was only 17,000 yen, which is drastically less, but he had actually gotten it as a gift for Anne in order to, make up for the fact that she bandaged up his dad by tearing away at her clothing and all that. So his heart was in a good place when he did this. So ultimately they're going to have to return all of this at some point, but we see that both Ryu and Katsugu have been captured and all of that, but Katsugu says that he has, overhearing that they're a bit bankrupt at the moment, it's just like, well, I have a bit of a get rich quick scheme if you're willing to hear it. And Dharma gives in, and we come to find out that there's this festival, like a fighting festival on a certain planet, and if you beat up all the contestants and you become the winner, you win 1 billion yen, which Dharma is all too interested in. And well, Hachimaru's just like, haven't you, Master, haven't you ever heard that you're too obsessed with money? It's just like, dude, you're a little kid. When you're a little kid and you don't have to pay bills and crap, you don't worry about that kind of stuff. Once you're older, living on your own in the real world where everything's money, 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 yeah, you start getting very greedy. We live in a world that makes you greedy, whether you want to be or not. And Katsugu exposits that, the organizer is this kind of legendary samurai, and apparently holds a key to some legendary box, and it's said that he can split a planet in half with one swipe of his sword. So that goes to show Hachimaru and Dharma that it might be one of the allies that they've been looking forward to. So they ask Katsugu and Ryu to lead them to this planet, and they'll be able to make money as well as find the next ally in their journey. And we see a preview of the planet with this massive gash in it, which makes you wonder what that's all about. But an interesting duo has joined the party for the most part. And that tends to happen in a lot of RPGs where a thief who tries to rob you actually ends up becoming an ally in the end. Kind of makes me want to play one of the Tales games. For the most part, that's kind of what this series makes me think of, the Tales games. Tales of Symphonia, Tales of Arcadia, all that good stuff. But fun enough, they're an interesting enough duo. There's enough mystery around Ryu that, hopefully we'll find out what's the deal with his weird, quirky fighting style and all that good stuff. But I'm looking forward to it, and hey, tell me your thoughts and feelings towards these new party members. What do you think Ryu's backstory is? And I was kind of hoping Katsugu was a girl, but ultimately he seems more like a Kiba, or kind of like a damn it, I always forget his name. Yamcha. I'm completely blanking on Yamcha's name for some reason, but he feels kind of like that kind of a character. And, it kind of feels like the more action-oriented one is Ryu, and it'll stay that way. But I feel that Katsugu has to have a backstory in and of himself as well. There has to be something deeper there. But who knows? Kishimoto has a tendency to leave certain characters by the wayside after a certain point, so we'll just have to wait and see. But again, thoughts, theories, and feelings in the comment section below. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you feel like it, if you like this review. If you want to find me on social media, just Google Duuz-Diz-Din. I'm everywhere, for better or for worse. Shield your children's eyes, just fair warning. And until the next video, just remember, you gotta be more careful with your spending and use your money within a plan, or else you might find yourself going bankrupt and needing to compete in an underground tournament for money. Happens all the time. Until next time, I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm going to bed.